across the sun now. Across the sun now.
Agriculture is 80% of our economy in Kenya. So I can advise them to do agricultural courses.
They take the agricultural courses.
Yeah, they take the agricultural courses.
Iko pesa.
Iko pesa.
Oh, umeona pesa. Lakini unajua wewe ni mwana biashara bana.
Yeah.
Make a date with me every Monday to Friday, 7:15 to 9:15 in the morning here at the Farmers Media, the breakfast show. Let us start the day right here. This is Noana Sia.
It's the 14th of August 2023. Good morning and welcome to the breakfast show. My name is Mary Oswero. So today I'm standing in for Noah Nasiari Kadima, who is normally the host for the breakfast show. So I'll be taking this show for this week from today up to Friday. I'm so excited about this show because now it's a new experience. It's an exciting one actually because I'm used to the mid-morning show. But anyway, now that I'm here, we are going to continue. I hope that this week will be a beautiful one with this new experience of hosting the breakfast show, and maybe you might meet Noah next week. But for this week, mimi msichana wenu ndio niko na nini hapa. Anyway, I hope your weekend was good. I hope you had a beautiful weekend. Mine was a fantastic one. I think I had enough rest. Now I'm ready to start the week with you. Today we have a very interesting topic that we are going to tackle. But first of all, I'm so sorry. We've started a bit late due to technical issues that we could not avoid. I'm so sorry about that. But tomorrow from 7:30 we'll be up. Today we have a very interesting topic, but before we get into the topic, ensure you follow us on our social media platforms. We are live on YouTube at Farmers Media, on Facebook at Farmers Media, on Twitter at @farmers_media, and on our website www.afarmers.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on our Facebook page. And then now we can flow together. Our main topic of the day is the tips and tricks for starters in agriculture. Today I want to talk to farmers, a potential farmer, a farmer mwenye anatakanga kuanza but anashindwa. Today I'm here for you. I'm going to maybe give you hope, give you tricks and tips on how you can start farming. Yes, so we have so many subtopics that we are going to tackle. Ensure you have your pen and your notebook so that you note them down, so that from today onwards you always remember that Mary from a farmers told me that I should start farming. I should not be discouraged. Yes. So as a farmer, there are so many things that you need to tackle when you want to start farming actually, because definitely when you already have the dream of being a farmer, tunakuita tu farmer already. We just give you the name of farmer because at least you have the dream. And dreams normally come true. There's a friend of mine who said we should continue dreaming. There's something that she can't do, but anyway, dreams normally come true. So if you are a farmer, if you are someone who dreams of becoming a farmer, today's topic is all about you. So ensure you tune in from now up to the end. So let's talk about the tips and tricks for starters in agriculture. First of all, when you hear agriculture, you have to talk about soil, definitely, soil testing, soil preparation. So soil preparation, there are management tips for preparing soil. So what is soil preparation? First of all, soil preparation and management. It involves various practices to improve the quality of soil for optimal plant growth. This can include techniques like plowing, tilling, adding organic matter. And when I talk about organic matter, I don't know if you already know what organic matter is. Let me assume that you're someone who wants to start farming. So organic matter is simply manure and maybe these decomposed leaves. You see these trees that shed their leaves. those leaves are very, very important. So they can be organic matter in your farm and they can do well. So such organic matter enhance soil structure. We can talk about water retention and nutrient availability. Yeah, so such things are crucial for successful farming and gardening. So I already said that when you talk about farming, we have talk about soil, and when you talk about soil, I always insist that you should test your soil. So what are some of the importance of soil testing? Because soil testing is very crucial. Every day I keep insisting that we as farmers, we should test our soil. Actually, the government always gives out fertilizers. But if it was in my power, my suggestion definitely would be that they should test soil for farmers for free. Because, I know most farmers don't really know how their soil is. They have never tested their soil. You as a farmer, you're just there. I just know that I can plant maize and it doesn't do well, and you don't even look for solutions. So in order for you to get solutions, definitely you should test your soil. I always insist, test your soil. I believe it's not so expensive. Just taking a portion from your farm and then taking it to the lab so that they test it for you, so that you know the kind of nutrients that you should add to your soil. It's not so expensive. As a potential farmer, someone who is so passionate about farming, you should always be ready to test your soil. So soil testing is very crucial, and it's very important. That's why we always encourage farmers to test their soil. Certainly there are key points and also the importance of soil testing. We have nutrient assessment. Soil testing determines nutrient levels in the soil. So if you want to know the nutrients that are already in your soil, you should always test the soil. The nutrients include nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. This prevents overuse and underuse of fertilizers, optimizing plant growth. The moment you test your soil, you know the kind of nutrients that are already in your soil. Definitely, you won't struggle to add extra fertilizers. Let's assume you have enough nitrogen in your farm. You don't need to add excess fertilizer for nitrogen to be fixed in your farm. So that's why we encourage soil testing. When you test your soil and you know the nutrients that are in your soil, you don't buy excess fertilizers, you don't spend money. Because I know as a farmer, you need so much money to be a successful farmer. You need so much money to handle your farm. So you will be saving. Imagine you've tested your soil. After testing your soil, and now you know that now I don't need these kind of fertilizers in my farm. So you have saved money. Yeah, so that's why we always encourage you to test your soil, so that you know the kind of nutrients, so that you also don't add excessive fertilizers. Because the moment you add excessive fertilizers, your soil might be more acidic. Maybe it wasn't acidic, but now you keep on adding fertilizers to your farm. I see that so much in my village. I really doubt if people from my village have tested their soils, because each and every planting season they always buy fertilizer. I think I should talk to them about that. We have targeted fertilization. Test results guide the application of specific fertilizers, minimizing wastage and reducing environmental impact. For instance, if phosphorus is lacking, only a phosphorus-rich fertilizer is used. Let me talk about also how excessive fertilizer can affect environment. You see, these fertilizers, they are chemicals. When you apply excessive chemicals in your farm, in one way or the other, it will rain, and if there is a water body that is close to your farm, definitely the excessive fertilizers will be swept into the water body. That way, the aquatic animals in that river or in that lake are affected. You are polluting the environment, because now the water is dirty and we are killing even the aquatic animals. So why don't you just test your soil? And then after testing your soil, unajua, I need to add nitrogen, I need to add phosphorus enough, not excess, so that it doesn't affect the aquatic animals that are close to that place. Yes, we also have the pH analysis. These are some of the things that you will meet in your results after testing your soil. Soil pH affects nutrient availability. Testing helps determine if the soil is acidic, it's neutral, or alkaline, allowing for adjustments using lime or sulfur to create ideal pH conditions. So the moment you test your soil, you'll know whether your soil is neutral, because neutral is the best. Actually, if your farm is neutral when it comes to pH, you are doing well, because when it's acidic, it will affect your crops. Your crops might end up burning, yes, and you don't want to have crops that are burnt after you spent money while planting them. So as a starting farmer, so testing your soil will be good for you, because if you just get into agriculture and you just get into farming without testing your soil, definitely you will plant your crops, and then after planting your crops, when the harvest time comes, you see your crops are burnt because your soil had excessive acid. Your soil was acidic and you didn't know, and you didn't bother to test, you didn't bother to inquire whether you should plant that type of crop in that place. So you don't want to go at losses, because as a starting farmer, ukianza na losses, you'll be discouraged. And we really don't want farmers to be discouraged. That's why we are here. We like encouraging farmers. So you'll get to know the soil pH and the nutrients that are available in your farm if you test your soil. So as a starting farmer, as a new farmer, testing your soil is the best. We have customized amendments, like soil tests reveal deficiencies or excess of micronutrients like zinc or iron. Customized amendments can be applied to rectify these imbalances, promoting healthier plants. When the results are out, after you've tested your soil, you'll get to know if the micronutrients in your soil are excess. The micronutrients are like zinc and iron. I think when we had the last show on Friday with my co-host Diane, during the mid-morning show, she explained to you what macronutrients are and micronutrients. So those ones, you will also find those ones in your farm. Most people will just think that such elements, we just meet them in chemistry and then we are done with them. Once you're done with high school, you're done with the elements. These elements are also in your soil, and they're also a key part. They also play a key part in your soil. So, and you'll meet them in the results. You'll meet them in the results of your soil tests. So that's why we will encourage you to test your soil, so that the moment you meet zinc or iron and you know they are in excess, you know how to balance them. We have cost efficiency. I've already talked about cost efficiency. When you test your soil, don't start being surprised and ask yourself why I keep on repeating testing your soil. I'm talking about the importance of soil testing. I might be repeating myself mpaka mtu afikirie, kwani this lady is just here to talk about soil testing. I'm telling you as a starting farmer, so I'm explaining to you the importance of soil testing. When you test your soil and you know that you need less fertilizer in your farm, you'll be saving lots and lots of money. So definitely it will be cheaper. It will be cheaper. We have environmental protection. Accurate soil testing prevents over application of fertilizers that can lead into water bodies, causing pollution and harming aquatic life. I already talked about that. Yield optimization, balance nutrient levels and proper pH, support robust plant growth, leading to higher yields and better crop quality. When you test your soil, and then after that you get the results and you follow instructions according to the expert, the ones that you've been given by the expert after the results are out. And then after that you go plant your crops. You'll get good harvest. That one I promise you, you will get a bountiful harvest. And as a farmer, that is what you want, right? Yes, that is what you want as a farmer. No farmer wants to fail. Ama kuna mkulima mwenye ako hapo nje and he or she just wants to fail. Ama you're just farming for passion. Now our breakfast show host Noah always says that you should not get into farming with passion. Ati umeingia tu ati me I love farming. Itakuramba tu hapo, you will feel so bad. So it's just better that when you're getting into farming, you be serious with it. If you get into it with passion and you have not looked at the market trends, you have not looked at the cost of different commodities that you want to plant, you're the one who will be affected. We have diagnosis of issues. Soil tests can identify factors causing poor plant growth, such as excessive salinity or nutrient imbalances, helping farmers address problems effectively. The moment you test your soil, you already know, you already have the results. You'll definitely know why some plants or some crops are not doing well in your farm or in your region, because now you know that my farm lacks nitrogen and I normally plant crops that need excessive nitrogen. So that's why there's poor growth of my crops. So testing soil is very, very important. We have sustainable farming. Soil testing promotes sustainable practices by minimizing nutrient runoff and reducing the need for chemical input. This is just a repetition of what I've talked about. When you test your soil, you don't need to use excessive fertilizers. I think it will give you some kind of knowledge. When the results are out, you will feel that you are an expert, but don't follow your own instructions. Ensure you talk to an expert. In summary, soil testing is a fundamental practice that empowers farmers and gardeners to make informed choices, leading to improved crop yields, reduced environmental impact, and overall sustainable soil management. So, as a starting farmer, I will always encourage you to test your soil. You know, you're just starting. This has been a dream, and you want your dream to come true as a farmer. So it's better you just test your soil. Don't assume that I'm a small scale farmer, now I don't really need to do such things. Even those gardens, if you want your kitchen garden to do well, you have to test that soil. Don't just assume that now this is a small place, I don't really need to test my soil. Soil testing is key when it comes to farming. When you're venturing into the agricultural field, you have to be ready for all these. If you want to do well as a farmer, you have to be ready to test your soil. As a starting farmer, you also need to know about crop selection and planning. Crop selection is also important. It also depends on the region that you're coming from. I think as we continue, I will be explaining to you more about crop selection and planning. But first of all, ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are still live on Facebook at A Farmers Media, on YouTube at A Farmers Media, on Twitter at A Farmers with a Z _media, and on our website www.afarmers.com. I'm still your host, Mary Oswero. Yes, so let me talk to someone who wants to venture into farming. You are a farmer, you want to venture into farming. Never look at your neighbors and say that I want to be like him or her, and you're not even sat down with that neighbor or that friend to tell you how farming is. Don't get into farming with passion. You have to talk to people. You have to know what do people do mostly? What kind of crops do people grow in my region? How are the crops doing? What are the market trends? Are you ready to take the risk? Because there are advantages and there are disadvantages of farming. And you have to be ready for all that, by the way. Just can't venture into farming knowing that I will always get good yields. I will always have a bountiful harvest each and every time. It doesn't work like that. I was going through some Facebook group, farming group, and I saw a farmer posting a photo of her coriander leaves. She had planted so much, and she had not really asked. I think she didn't have the knowledge of the market where she can take the coriander leaves. Now they were just there. There was so much in the farm, and so many farmers can also give you answers. In these social media pages, you can get answers. She had posted the picture of the coriander leaves. It was a big farm. It was a very, very big farm, and she had not harvested even one leaf. There was so much. She had not harvested any, and she was asking, I think those coriander leaves were really old. Let me just say they were old because some of them they were even turning yellow. And she was asking people where she can get the market. You see, such a farmer didn't really get to understand the market. Alipanda too. She just got to the farm and tried planting coriander leaves, and then now they did well, and then she had no market, and then now the coriander leaves were just there. They were getting old in that farm. You've spent your money. That farmer, I really doubt if she asked around about the market. I really doubt if that happened, because farmers were just telling her, you can't just be sitting with your coriander leaves there and you're asking us on Facebook, and this is something that you can harvest and just take to the local market in the morning and people will buy, because coriander leaves are things that the moment you just leave them without taking good care of them, after harvesting they will dry up and they will lose their value. So as a starting farmer, don't be like that farmer. I want to mention the name. Don't be like that farmer who just had her coriander leaves in the farm until it was too late and they were almost flowering. Is when she's asking, where can I get the market for my coriander leaves? You have to plan. So let's talk about crop selection and planning, because when you're getting into farming, you have to be ready and be sure of what you are doing. Okay? Yes. So you have to identify suitable crops for your region. Yes, you have to identify suitable crops for your region. Don't just assume that beans do well in my place, so the way they do well, I can just put beans anywhere. If you're from somewhere like Kitale, maize does so well in Kitale. So if you're from somewhere like Kitale, you can have maize there. Yeah, I think so much maize, at least according to the knowledge that I have, in my place we get maize from Kitale. So you can't just take maize and then you go plant in somewhere like Limuru. Yes, it might not do well. Not all maize will do well in different places. Hata kama there are different types, not all of them will do well in different places. So lazima ukue umeangalia vizuri what kind of crop can do well in my place, what kind of crop will not do well in my place. If you don't want to go at losses, just be ready for that. Don't assume that now that beans can do well here, beans can do well anywhere. So ensure you identify the crops that can do well in your region, and this one it will also come out with the soil types, because not all crops will do well in a certain type of soil. We have sandy soil. Sandy soil, I really doubt if we can have crops in sandy soil. It's kind of weird. I've never had farmers planting crops in sandy soil. But maybe if you're a farmer and your place is sandy and there's something you've planted there before, maybe you can tell us. But according to the knowledge that I have, I don't think there are crops that can do well in sandy soil. So when you are planning to plant crops, ensure you are in an environment that have good soil for that type of crop. It's a good region for that type of crop. Everything has to be falling into place. And then we have crop rotation and diversification. I think we already talked about crop rotation at some point. Yeah, in our previous shows we already talked about crop rotation. Crop rotation is simply like, for example, you're planting one type of soil somewhere, and then you're planting one type of crop somewhere, and then after some time you change. When you planted beans here this time, maybe the next time you plant maize. If not maize, maybe the next time you plant grass. They can do well in some environment. That is basically crop rotation. So you have to have the knowledge of crop rotation before you start farming. Not all farmers will love crop rotation, but we always encourage farmers to practice crop rotation a lot. We are still live on Facebook at A Farmers Media, on YouTube at A Farmers Media, on Twitter at A Farmers with the Z_media, and on our website www.afarmers.com. Ensure you follow us on our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is A Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow. I think at this point we are going to take a short commercial break, a very short one. Nikunywe maji kidogo, then I will be back to explain to you a part of the crop selection and planning as we continue. I'm your host, Mary Oswero. I'll be back.
A budget is an overview of the costs and incomes of your business. Let's say you want to grow potatoes on half an acre. First, note down all the things you'll need in order to grow your crop and find out how much they cost. For instance, certified potato seeds, 24,000 shillings. Fertilizer, 6,000 shillings. Labor, 3,000 shillings, which gets you to a total cash spend of 33,000 shillings. Say you'll harvest 150 50-kilogram bag of potato, which you sell at 1,000 shillings each. That gives you total cash earnings of 150,000 shillings. Now, this is a really important part. Work out your profit. Subtract the total cash spent from cash earned. In our potato example, that works out at a profit of 117,000 Kenyan shillings.
Drip irrigation is a type of micro irrigation system that has potential to save water and nutrients by allowing water to drip slowly to the roots of the plants, either from above the soil surface or buried below the surface. The goal is to place water directly into the root zone and minimize evaporation. This system is very efficient because it delivers water directly to the plant roots, reducing water waste. It's often used in arid regions or during periods of water shortage, but it's also used in more temperate climates for its efficient and conservation benefits. Common uses include vegetable gardens, flower beds, trees, shrubs, and agroforests. It can be set up for both small-scale home gardens and large-scale agricultural operations. The system requires a water source, a method to distribute the water, usually tubes and hoses, and emitters which control the amount of water delivered.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Show. This is A Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow. Before we went for a break, we were talking about crop selection and planning. We are still live on Facebook at A Farmers Media, on YouTube at A Farmers Media, on Twitter at A Farmers with a Z_media, and on our website www.afarmers.com. So our main topic of the day is still the tips and tricks for starters in agriculture. And before we went for a break, we were talking about crop selection and planning. So before I even get deep into crop selection and planning, definitely we have to know about soil fertility. So as a starting farmer, you have to know whether your soil is fertile, whether it has everything, all the nutrients. So let's talk about soil fertility. Definitely there are soil fertility and soil amendments. So I'll break them down into smaller pieces, bit by bit, so that you get to understand them. So under soil fertility, you have nutrient content. Soil fertility refers to the soil's ability to provide essential nutrients to plants for optimal growth and productivity. Yes. So definitely, when I talk about soil fertility, you already imagine how a fertile soil looks like. It's something that has organic matter. You don't just apply excessive chemicals. it has to have nutrient content. It has to have enough organic matter, enough nutrients. That is when your soil is fertile and ready for planting, maybe. Yes, under soil fertility, we also have to have micronutrients. For your soil to be fertile, you have to have macronutrients. A fertile soil contains an adequate supply of primary macronutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These are some of the macronutrients or even the elements that need to be in your soil in order for you as a farmer to brag that now my soil is fertile. You have to have the macronutrients like the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium. And if at all those macronutrients are excess, you need to look for a way of fixing them. Do we say fertilizers that can fix such micronutrients? Like we have the nitrogen fixer fertilizer. There are fertilizers that can help you in your farm to fix those micronutrients if at all they are excess. We have micronutrients. They also include essential micronutrients like iron, zinc, and copper, which are required in small amounts. Actually, micronutrients are required in very, very small amounts in your farm, in your soil. If you want, if you now consider yourself to be a farmer who has good soil in the farm, that soil must have little bit of micronutrients. You don't have to have excess zinc in your farm, excess iron. Those ones, they are needed in order for your crops to do well. They are needed in small bits. We have pH balance. Proper pH level is crucial for nutrient availability. Fertile soil often maintains a pH suitable for plant growth. So if your pH is balanced, your plants will grow well. Your farm, your soil do not have to be acidic for your plants to grow well. If it is acidic, your plants will not do well. But if it is neutral, definitely you have a good farm. You have a good soil for your crops, not a good farm. Let's talk about organic matter. Soil fertility is influenced by the presence of organic matter, which improves soil structure, nutrient retention, and water holding capacity. Actually, when you have organic matter in your farm, I already told you that organic matter can be things like manure, even the leaves that are shed from trees, they can decompose and then you use them as organic matter. When you have such in your farm, your farm will be so firm that water can be held in such kind of soil. Water can be retained in such kind of soil. So organic matter is also a key point when you're talking about farming and soil fertility. Let's talk about soil amendments. I'm still talking about organic matter even in the soil amendments subtopic. Adding compost, manure, or plant residues enhances soil structure. It improves water retention and supplies nutrients gradually. When you have organic matter in your farm, you are doing well because then water is retained. Remember, all plants need water. When you're planting your crops, they need water. So with the help of organic matter, water will be retained, and your crops, when you grow your seeds, there will always be water to germinate your seeds. We have lime, used to increase soil pH in acidic soils, promoting nutrient availability and balance plant growth. When you have lime in your farm, it will increase soil pH in acidic soils. Remember, when you have an acidic soil, you have to look for a solution. I always say that having a problem in your farm is not the end of farming. At the end of the day, there will always be a solution. Like when you have lime and your soil is acidic, when you add lime to it, definitely your soil will be balanced and it will be a bit neutral, and it will also enhance plant growth. We have sulfur. Sulfur decreases soil pH in alkaline soils, making nutrients more accessible to plants. You see, I already said that every problem must always have a solution. So sulfur will always come through to decrease soil pH in alkaline. We have fertilizers. Fertilizers provide specific nutrients lacking in the soil, addressing deficiencies and promoting healthy plant development. By the way, fertilizers really come through for most farmers. As much as we encourage you to use organic matter mostly, but fertilizers also really come through for farmers, because just imagine you have a farm that maybe you have less nitrogen. You must use fertilizer. You will have to use fertilizer to help you in one way or the other, because when your farm has a problem, there's always a solution, and the first one might be the organic matter, because the organic matter is a traditional one. But then fertilizers are made also for farmers to use them. We don't have fertilizers in our agrovet just to sit there and relax. Fertilizers are not taken to the agrovet just to be there. They also help farmers, so they come through a lot. So when you're a farmer who is starting, when you are someone who wants to venture into farming, you have to be ready to be buying fertilizers only when necessary, not all the time. And then we have cover crops. Planting cover crops like legumes adds nitrogen to the soil through nitrogen fixation. Actually, I don't know, as a viewer, what comes to your mind when we talk about cover crops? We've been explaining what cover crops are in the previous shows. But then again, I used to think that a cover crop is something like cabbage. I know it's a weird thought, but that used to be in my mind, that a cover crop is something like cabbage. I never knew that a cover crop is so different from cabbage. I think because cabbages are big, and then they cover a large space when they're ready for harvest. But cover crops are things like grass. When you plant grass in your farm, it will help retain the soil fertility. It will help hold water. You might be wondering, you might be seeing someone's farm has grass, and you start wondering, why do this person? Because most people assume that grass are weeds, of which it's true they are weeds, but they also act as cover crops. So when you see a farmer having grass in their farm, don't think that these people are just encouraging planting of weeds. That is a wise farmer who is trying to retain soil fertility in her farm. We have mulching. Applying mulch helps conserve moisture, regulate soil temperature, and prevent nutrient leaching. So when you apply mulch in your farm, it will help in conserving moisture, and it will also regulate soil temperature. Let's not assume that soil does not have temperature. Hata ukijaribu kupima the temperature of the soil with a thermometer, definitely itakupea results. I'm yet to know the temperature of the soil. I think I should try doing that, testing the temperature of the soil. That is something new. I've never tried it. But as a starting farmer, you have to know that soils also have temperatures, and applying mulch helps regulate the soil temperature. We have green manure. Incorporating cover crops into the soil adds organic matter and nutrients as they decompose. I already talked about cover crops. We have compost tea, a liquid fertilizer made from compost, enriching soil with nutrients and beneficial microorganisms. There are liquid fertilizers that you can spray in your farm. If at all you didn't know about that as a starting farmer, now you know. There are liquid fertilizers that you can spray in your farm, and they also help enrich soil with nutrients. And also beneficial microorganisms. Let's not assume that all microorganisms are bad. Some of them are beneficial. Yes, and we also have the benefits of soil amendments. We have nutrient enhancement. Amendments enrich soil with essential nutrients, supporting robust plant growth. So one of the benefits of soil amendments is nutrient enhancement. Your soil will definitely be doing well when you add nutrients to it. So I still encourage you to test your soil so that you know the kind of nutrients that you should add to your soil. We have improved soil structure. Organic matter and certain amendments enhance soil's physical properties, making it more suitable for root penetration and water movement. When you have improved soil structure, there will be easier water movement in your farm. Water movement will be so easy in your farm when you have improved soil structure. You also have pH adjustment. We have water management. When I talk about water management, this is what I mean. Amendments improve water retention, reducing water stress on plants. You don't really have to struggle to get water to irrigate your farm. You can practice different types of irrigation. I think we'll talk about that as we continue. There are different types of irrigation that last week, Regina tackled them in the mid-morning show in one of the days. If you've not watched and you want to know about the types of irrigation, there are different types of irrigation systems. You can go back and watch so that you get to know the types of irrigation system. In summary, soil fertility is vital for healthy plant growth, and soil amendments plays a crucial role in maintaining or enhancing fertility by providing necessary nutrients, improving soil structure, and creating an environment conducive to plant development. So also in farming, we have tilling techniques. Though I don't really encourage tilling as much, but we still have tilling techniques. As a starting farmer, you have to know that there's something called tilling. It's something that personally I don't encourage farmers to practice it a lot, but it's there. So some of the proper tilling techniques are timing. Tilling is best done when the soil is moist but not too wet. Avoid tilling when the soil is extremely dry or waterlogged. I think at this point I should talk to my village people because where I come from, tilling is just practiced even in dry soil. I think they have really never understood why they should not practice tilling in dry soil. They are affecting the microorganisms that are in the soil. Because, the soil has different microorganisms. The soil has different types of microorganisms. So, when you practice tilling in dry soil, you are affecting such microorganisms that helps also in the fertilization of your farm. They also add fertility to your soil, and they're just tilling during dry season. You should not practice that. Tilling is best done when the soil is moist, but also not too wet. We have depth. Till to a depth appropriate for the crop's root system. Avoid over-tilling, which can disrupt soil structure and lead to compaction. We have equipment. Use suitable equipment such as plows, harrows, based on the size of the area and soil type. We won't just assume that you just take your jembe and then go to a 4-acre farm that you want to plow. You can't use a jembe in such a big farm unless you have thousands and thousands of laborers who will be doing that. So at this point, you'll just be using these tractors. I don't know if you've seen these tractors as a farmer. I don't know if you've seen these tractors that they use in the farm. If you have a big farm, look for a better way of plowing it. Don't just assume that now that I'm a farmer, I can be one man, one farm. It's a 4-acre land, but you want to do it by yourself. You will not manage. That's the way you will end up living farming. We have direction. Tilling is in different directions, can help break up clumps, improve soil consistency, and minimize compaction. We have cross tilling. When I talk about direction, it can help break up clumps, because in your farm there are clumps. I don't know if there's any farm that do not have clumps. When you're tilling in a kubwa, like when that tractor, do I say, is it a jembe? A jembe on a tractor? I need to know the correct name so that I don't misguide you people. We have weed control. Tilling can bury weed seeds, but it can also bring dormant seeds to the surface. Time tilling to disturb weed growth cycles. When you're practicing tilling and you want to take away the weeds, yes, definitely some weeds will come out. But I don't know if you've ever realized that some will be buried. At the moment they are buried, they will start germinating, and seeds will be excess in your farm at the end of the day again. So yes, it's good for weed control, but then again it has some disadvantage. And the disadvantage is that you'll be burying some weeds not knowing, and then after planting your crops, now that you already know that my farm is ready, After planting your crops will be germinating, they will be growing, as the weeds also helps them to grow. So in that point of weed control, it has an advantage and a disadvantage. We also have cultivation techniques. As a farmer, you have to know, as a starting farmer, you have to know some of the cultivation techniques so that you use them, and then you'll thank me later. Yes, we have spacing. Proper plant spacing prevents overcrowding, allowing each plant to receive adequate sunlight, water, and nutrients. Actually, when plants grow together with weeds, or plants grow together, when you plant them so close, and then now they are starting to germinate, and then they are growing together, they will be sharing the nutrients and the water 50-50. You realize that they have grown so well, but now there are no yields. Haupati mazao mzuri. You're not getting good yields because now they have shared 50-50. So spacing is very important when you're practicing when you're venturing into the farming world. We have depth. Plant seeds at the correct depth to ensure good germination and establishment. Shallow planting can lead to poor growth, while planting too deep may hinder emergence. Let me tell you a story of where I come from. I know of a farmer who used to plant the seeds so deep because he didn't want pests to attack the seeds. He didn't want rodents. He didn't want, because when I talk about pests, I'm also talking about a monkey. A monkey can come and dig that farm that you've planted, and even a rabbit, and they will eat all the seeds that you've planted in your farm. So this farmer used to plant so deep. Let me tell you, he could wait. Those seeds were not, the seeds could germinate, but now they are taking time to emerge. Some farms, the plants have already emerged, but his farm, because now he was hiding the seeds from pests like monkeys and rabbits, they were taking time to emerge. And when they took time to emerge, even time for harvesting, people were harvesting, and he was still waiting. So don't plant your seeds too deep. Hata kama ni kuogopa pests, don't plant them too deep, because the time for harvest will come and you'll just be there. People are harvesting and you're just there. Your plants are not ready. You have to wait again. And now that your plants are not ready, people will harvest and finish, and then the pests will come and attack your farm, because your farm is the last farm standing. So I want to encourage you to plant so deep. We have weeding. Regularly remove weeds to reduce competition for resources. Hand weeding or using tools like hoes can be effective. Yes, using tools like hoes can be effective, but I'd encourage hand weeding, because when you're hand weeding, you will not injure these other crops that you've planted. You will not injure them at all, because now you'll be killed. Compared to using hoes, you might end up injuring one. At the moment you cut one, it's gone. But you don't want that as a farmer, right? Yes, we have mulching. Apply mulch around plants to suppress weeds, conserve soil moisture, and regulate temperature. I think I already talked about that. We have watering. Water plants deeply and at the base to encourage deep root growth. Avoid overhead watering that can promote diseases. Let me take you. Let me train you a little bit with this small knowledge that I have when it comes to watering your plants. Once your plants have grown well and now they need water, don't just take the water can and then you're pouring on top of the plant, assuming that they will just get to the root. Just pour the water directly to the root. That's why we always encourage drip irrigation. If you can afford to practice drip irrigation, it's the best. But if you can't afford and you just have to do it manually, then always pour the water on the roots of the plant. Don't pour the water on the leaves. I used to do that a lot when I was young. Don't pour the water on the leaves of the plant. You're not helping them. You might find that maybe there are some pests that are already on the leaves of your plant, and then you're pouring the water on them. They are getting to the soil. Do you think they are going away? They're not going away. They're just around, waiting for the water, waiting for you to finish watering your plants, and then they go back to the leaves. So ensure just pour your water on the roots. of your plant. We have support, install support like stakes or trellises for plants that require vertical growth, preventing them from bending or breaking under their weight. This one, I think the knowledge that I have is for bananas. When you plant, in my place, when you plant bananas and then you see them, they start bending, you normally take a certain, let me not say it's a stick, but a big one, and then you support the banana with it, because you don't want your bananas to fall down when it's not yet time. The moment you just leave your crops to bend, they might bend and then they fall, and then you could have gotten good fruits. You could have gotten mature bananas, but now they're falling down when they're immature. At the end of the day, it's not helping you. So plants that need support, ensure you support them. You can do it the traditional way, the way we do it now, place with sticks, long sticks, then you support the banana, you support the plant with it, and they will still do well. You don't really need to struggle much. I think I've given you a solution. You don't really need to struggle much. We have pruning, trim dead or damaged branches and leaves to enhance air circulation, promote healthy growth, and prevent disease spread. Ensure you always trim the dead branches or the excessive ones. I got to learn that when a tree when a tree has so many branches and you want it to grow better, you should always trim some branches so that it does well. So I think pruning is also a best way of also practicing cultivation when you want your crops to do well. Not necessarily trees, but any other crop that has a dead branch or dead leaves. We have fertilization. Apply fertilizers as needed based on soil tests and plant requirements. Follow recommended rates and timing. These fertilizers, we normally get them from the agrovet. So when you get to the agrovet, there's an expert there. Don't just buy fertilizer without explaining to that expert why you are buying it. Maybe you might go to the agrovet with the mind of buying a certain type of a fertilizer, but then again, when you get there and you explain, they will give you a better solution. So when you're buying fertilizer, any type of fertilizer, ensure you ask an expert so that they can advise you better on the type of fertilizer you can buy, depending on the type of soil that you're going to use it on. We have crop rotation. Rotate crops each season to prevent the buildup of pests and diseases specific to certain plant families. In our mid-morning show some time back, we had a whole topic for crop rotation that we talked about. So if you haven't watched, you can go back and watch. But now let me just explain it to you a little bit. When you grow legumes in your farm, when you grow maybe beans or even green grams in your farm, definitely there are different pests that will attack that place. I've never seen a farm that has not been attacked by a pest or a disease. You just have to use the right chemicals to spray on them so that they disappear. But let's assume we've grown beans in a place, and then now the next time you exchange, you grow something else. The pests that were attacking beans have remained here, but now you've grown sugarcane. They can't be here. You're breaking the cycle. So crop rotation helps break the cycle of pests and diseases. So that is also something that you need to know when you want to start cultivating. We have harvesting. Harvest crops at the appropriate stage of maturity to ensure peak flavor, texture, and nutritional content. Takes me back to the story I was telling you about a farmer who had coriander leaves in their farm. You should harvest them at the right time. So that farmer left the coriander leaves until it was too late, and farmers were telling her that now these coriander leaves will start flowering and nobody will be buying them. So when you are into farming and you've already planted your crops, I believe you know the season or the time for harvesting. Ensure you harvest them at the right time. Don't harvest them late and don't harvest them early. I don't know if you've ever tasted an avocado that has been harvested early. It doesn't have a good taste. You will never love an avocado if you harvest an avocado that had been that is not mature. Let me use the word immature. If you harvest an avocado that is immature, you will not enjoy it. So ensure you harvest your crops at the right time when they are mature and ready for the market. We have the benefits of proper techniques, the benefits of proper cultivation techniques. We have enhanced growth. The proper tilling and cultivation creates a favorable environment for root development and nutrient uptake. When you practice proper tilling and cultivation, your crops are definitely the roots for your crops will definitely develop well, because you didn't interfere with the soil. So the roots are good. Even in the weeding sector, when you practice proper weeding, a good weeding that didn't interfere with the roots, they will develop properly. We also have weed management. Effective techniques reduce weed competition, minimizing the need for excessive manual or chemical weed control. I will not encourage farmers to use chemicals on weeds, because the moment you are spraying the chemicals on that farm to take away the weeds, the chemicals, some of them are remaining in the soil, and they will affect the soil in one way or the other. So when the time for planting comes, when you plant your crops, you realize that your soil is affected and your plants will also be affected. So, I will not encourage farmers to use chemicals to spray on their weeds. Hand weed? Just hand weed. If it's so hard, then you can now use a hoe. You can now use a hoe to remove the weeds. But hand weeding is the best technique. We have water efficiency. Adequate spacing and proper watering techniques optimize water usage and reduce wastage. When you practice drip irrigation, you're not wasting water, because now the water will just be going direct into the roots, and it will be coming out in small bits, in small quantities. So I still encourage you to practice drip irrigation unless you can't afford it. Unless you can't afford it, then you can use these other traditional ways of just pouring, but now pouring on the roots, not on the leaves. We have disease prevention. Proper practices such as pruning and spacing improves air circulation and limit the spread of diseases. When you space your crops, when you space your plants well, it will not be so easy for pests and diseases to move from one plant to the other. Kama may attack this one plant, it will take time to move to the next one. So when you are getting into planting season, ensure you space your crops well, you space your plants well to prevent diseases from moving from one plant to another. We have yield improvement. Applying the right techniques leads to higher yields and better quality crops. When you apply the right techniques when cultivating your crops, you will definitely get a bountiful harvest. I think I've already talked about the right techniques to use when cultivating your crops up there. Yes. So in summary, proper tilling and cultivation techniques involve careful consideration of timing, equipment, spacing, and other factors to ensure healthy plant growth, maximum yields, and sustainable soil management. So when you practice proper tilling and cultivation, be ready for a good harvest as you continue. We are still live on Facebook at Afarmers Media, on YouTube at Afarmers Media, on Twitter at Afarmers_media, and on our website www.afarmers.com. So let's talk about now crop selection and planning. I think before we went for a break, niligusia tu kidogo. This topic is so broad, we can't really finish it in one show. We have to do a part 1, a part 2, and a part 3, because now we are talking to a farmer who is just starting. That farmer needs to know a lot. He or she needs to know a lot before she gets into farming. Nobody advised her or him. That's why Afarmers Media is here, so that we can advise you in the best ways possible. We are here to connect, learn, and grow with you as a new farmer. We love new farmers, by the way. So let's venture into crop selection and planning. I think I'll finish it at crop selection and planning for the part one, because today we started late and I really apologize for that. But tomorrow I will start right on time. So I just guzia to the crop selection and the planning, and then tomorrow we'll do the rest of the parts. So crop selection is the process of choosing which specific plants to grow in a given agricultural area. This decision is influenced by factors such as climate, soil type, water availability, market demand, and the overall goals of the farmer or the gardener. So key points in crop selection, they include climate sustainability. Different crops have specific temperature, humidity, and sunlight requirements. Select crops that thrive in the local climate. You know where you are as a farmer, so the only thing you need to know is which type of crops can do well in your region. Don't just plant anything anywhere. If you're a good farmer, you have to know beans can do well here, groundnuts can do well here. So ensure you choose the right crops for the right region. You have soil compatibility. The soil's texture, pH, and nutrient content affect crop growth. Choose crops suited to the soil conditions. You as a farmer, you know the soil, you know the conditions that your soil have. That is after you get the results for the soil test results. Actually, you already know the conditions that your soil have. So when you're choosing your crop, when you're choosing your seeds, ensure you choose according to your soil's condition. We have water requirements. Consider the water availability and choose crops that can be adequately irrigated. Only choose crops that can be adequately irrigated. Not all crops are irrigated that much. I've seen when you plant sugarcane, they need water. They need good water. When you plant vegetables, they need good water. So you only choose crops that can be adequately irrigated. We have market demands. Grow crops in demand to ensure profitable returns. Market research helps identify trends and consumer preferences. You have to know what people need in the market. Like right now, onions are very, very expensive. So if you're an onion farmer, people will buy from you. People will just buy from you because now they need it. But it's very expensive. And like tomatoes, right now, tomatoes are going at a good price. I just saw the last time I went to the market, some sellers were selling 6 tomatoes at 10 shillings, which is very cheap. So you have to know the market demand. What do people really need in the market now? You can be planting mangoes and people don't want mangoes. People want watermelons. So you have to know the market demand before you start planting your crops. We have crop rotation. Rotate crops to prevent soil nutrient depletion and manage pests and diseases. I already mentioned that. We have diversification. Growing a variety of crops can spread risk and ensure a steady supply throughout the year. So when you grow a variety of crops, definitely it will be steady. Your farm will be steady throughout the year because you have sukuma wiki in the same farm, you have cabbage, you have spinach. The market will be easier for you. The market will be easier and your farm will always be busy. There's no time that your farm will be idle. I don't encourage farmers to just leave their farms to be idle because the soil will lose maybe its nutrients when it rains. Now it rains and maybe fertilizers from other farms are now being spread to your farm. So ensure your farm is always busy. We have personal preferences. Factors like personal expertise, experience, and interest can influence crop selection. You as a farmer, you know what you like, you know what you want. So just choose what you're comfortable with. Don't grow strawberries because your neighbor is growing strawberries. Maybe you're not good at taking care of those strawberries. You're good at taking care of oranges. Grow something that you can take good care of. Just like I said before, this topic is so wide, we can't finish it in one show. So today was a part 1. of this topic, the tips and tricks for starters in agriculture. So if you're a farmer who is just starting to farm, you can watch it. Maybe you've just joined us now, you can go back and watch from the beginning up to now. I'll be bringing part 2 on Wednesday, so ensure you stay with us even on that Wednesday to watch the part 2 of today's topic. Once again, I apologize for starting late. It was due to some technical issues that we could not, that were unavoidable. But ensure you keep on streaming. We still have our next show, the mid-morning, and in the evening we'll be having the farm drive. So ensure you stream in during the mid-morning with Regina and I, and in the evening we have the farm drive with Bosquin and Yoshe Mbugwa. I'd like to thank my director, Doti, who is behind the scenes and directing this show. Amenisaidia sana hata kama I was late. At least she has enabled the show to go on air. So thank you so much, Doti. I'll be back with part 2 of tips and tricks for starters in agriculture on Wednesday. So ensure you tune in. I've been your host, Mary Oswero. Enjoy the rest of the day.